Everybody, Jake and Gino here. And today is the day we talk about how to use a cap rate to invest in multifamily properties. G-Dad, the cap rate, important, not important, use it, don't use it. Shed some light on this, man. I need your help, brother.
I can only shed a little bit of light. You're going to shed the rest of that light because this is a touchy topic with a lot of investors out there. Everyone thinks they know what cap rate is. How do you use it? 10 years ago, cap rates were really, really high. They've compressed over the last 5-6 years. What am I doing? Well, it really depends upon your strategy. And Mr. Stenzi over there is going to talk about our two deal types and how they affect cap rates. But the first thing is I've got cap rate, the definition written down here. It's a real estate valuation that measures used to compare different real estate investments. Although there are many variations, a cap rate is often calculated as the ratio between the net operating income produced by an asset and the original capital cost, or alternatively, its current market value. What the hell does that
Gino,
mean?
can I get some English over here?
Dude, what is that? I don't know what the hell they're talking. It's really cap rate
is your jabroni over here. I don't know what that is.
It's the net operating income divided by the price, right? It's basically a metric, sort of a rate of return on what you're making on your property. A couple of points with cap rates. When we were buying cap rates, there were 8 and 9 caps back then. And there were higher cap rates. When you have a higher cap rate, there is more risk in a market. In Nashville, Knoxville, cap rates are 4 and 5 caps. That means, it's an inverse relationship. When your cap rate is lower, your prices or your valuations are higher. You're really buying a future stream of revenue when you're buying multifamily. So when you're buying in markets like Nashville and Knoxville, there are more people there. There are more jobs there. The probability of you collecting that rent 4 or 5 years down the road is much higher than, let's say, a Rust Belt market like, I'm not killing anybody, but let's say Cleveland. Cap rates in Cleveland are higher. Why? Because there's less job growth, there's population decline, people are leaving those markets, so there's more risk. So that's why cap rates are higher in that market. Now, there's no such thing as a good cap rate that's low or high. You really have to take into consideration a couple of things: the risk and the growth. You're looking in a cap rate in a market, what is the risk and the growth? And the other thing with cap rates, when you're looking at them, there can be a cap rate for let's say a city like Nashville, but in every part of the city, there's going to be different cap rates. And even sometimes in neighborhoods, because some neighborhoods may be riskier than others. They may be a little more rougher than others. So knowing what the cap rates are in your individual market and individual city is very important. Now, we're going to talk about value investing and how cap rates sometimes really don't mean anything when you're doing a deal. So, Mr. Stenzi, take it away.
Gino, ask me, does cap rate matter?
Jake, does cap rate matter?
Well, Gino, that's an interesting question. And ultimately, my answer is it depends. Okay? It depends. And here's why it depends. We have, and I'm not talking about the diapers. All right, here's the deal. We have 2 deal types, our primary deal types. We always talk about setting your parameters in multifamily investing. It's so important to know what you're hunting, okay? That's so right. It's like we sift for gold, okay? We're always sifting, and we don't want to spend a lot of time sifting. We want to get to the point. Now, we have a deal type A that we look at and a deal type B. Deal type A is stabilized. It's down the fairway. We expect cash-on-cash return. We expect cash flow from day one. Deal type B is a turnaround job, okay? It's going to be a refine roll. We're going to get into it, and we're going to, probably turn all the units and do this heavy rehab. It's going to be a hairy deal. Now, the reason it depends is because in deal type A, that cap rate really does matter because we're buying in-place, stabilized cash flows, okay? We need those metrics to be there. Deal type B, the big hairy animal that may be 50% vacant, yeah, we're not buying on cap rate right there because ultimately what we're looking at is what is the replacement cost, okay? How much is it to replace that, and are we in a good market, okay? So we're looking at actually price per unit there and where we think we can get those future rents to. Totally different. Think of it as like quasi-development, if you will. It's a big turnaround job where initial cap rate has no meaning, really. It's going to be future cap rates, and the GDAC can hit you with that.
So real quick, cap rates on small properties, not really relevant. If you're buying a triplex, a quad, 8 units, cap rates really aren't used. Second thing is know what the cap rates are on the market for the last 6 months. If you don't know, find a qualified multifamily broker. They will tell you. The third thing, Jake was talking about that big, hairy gorilla of a deal, right? What you want to do is the stabilized net operating income, right, divided by the price plus any CapEx you put into it. So ultimately, it's all the money that you have in the deal plus the price. If that's stabilized net operating income, if you bought it for 100,000 with in-place NOI, and that NOI goes up to 200,000, that's what your pro forma is. If you're dividing that by the purchase price plus capex, if that cap rate is higher than what the cap rate in the market is, ding, 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 ding. So you can buy a property at a 2 cap, but all of a sudden, once it's stabilized, you've got that cap rate to a 9, but you're looking at the in-place cap rates of that market at a 5. Guess what? That's a deal, folks. That's what we like to see. Now, if you're buying the deal at a cap rate of a 2 and you get it to a 5.8 or your 6 cap, but the market is a 5, do you do that deal? Like Jake said, not the underwear, it depends, but it depends, because is it part of your business plan? Are you a long-term buy and hold investor? Are you getting cost segregation on the deal? Is it a deal you like in a part of the market and part of the city that you see growth? Is it a newer, whatever it looks like, you need to have your buy right criteria on there. And more importantly, by the way, click on that link down below. We want to see the likes and the subscribes to the Jake and Gino channel. Do you have your criteria in place? That's the important thing. Cap rates are only one criteria. You have debt coverage ratios, you have cash on cash returns, price per unit, all those other metrics when you're buying deals, the age of the asset, the quality of the asset. Is it brick? Is it pitched roofs? Is it a path of progress? All these things I'm throwing at you. Cap rate is great. It's sexy. It's easy, but don't be lazy and don't be buying deals just on cap rates, because as you can see, it really depends also on, are you a value investor? And if you are a value investor, you're buying deals that have subpar income, that have lower net operating incomes today. You're buying always, and this is the golden nugget here, you're buying on a pro forma, your pro forma, not the broker's pro forma. So make sure you get those numbers and you know those rents in the market and you know how to underwrite a deal in your market real quick that makes sense. So cap rates are just one measure, but you got to know how to use them.
Gino, thank you, because your knowledge and education has now given me clarity, and I am ready to go hunt, baby. Let's get some deals. Let's go.
Mr. Stenziano, don't be afraid of the cap rate.
That's right. Thanks, Gino.
Take care, everyone.